Our sponsor today is Winty. Winty is an aviation-themed t-shirt business designing and printing aviation-related graphics for pilots, aviation businesses, and aviation enthusiasts worldwide. Using DTG, direct-to-garment printing technology, Winty can print 1 or 100 plus garments upon request within a reasonably low turnaround time, including customer-submitted graphics. Contact Winty Aviation T-Shirt Art by visiting winty.com today to find out how a custom aviation graphic can be printed for you. Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to Savvy Central Radio. This is your host, Christina Nichman. Each week on Savvy, we host new individuals and business owners, inviting them to share their expertise, dreams, and lessons learned in their field of business. Our guest today is Debbi Dachinger. Debbi is a goal achievement expert who teaches the practical and spiritual techniques to achieve dreams and goals. She is a radio and TV personality, a 3-time best-selling author, keynote speaker, and coach. Debbi's Dare to Dream radio show is a syndicated, multi-award-winning program with 2+ million listeners, offering listeners inspiring information and methods on how to achieve their dreams and goals. Debbi joins us today to talk about her new best-selling book, Wisdom to Success. Debbi's abundant career is using her voice to live out loud, to teach and inspire others to dare to dream and make their dreams a reality. To find out more about Debbi, you can go to her website at DebbiDachinger.com. Hi, Debbi. Thanks for coming to Savvy Central Radio today. How are you?
I'm wonderful and very happy to be here with you.
Well, I'm excited that you're on Savvy. I'm really excited. I met you through our good friend Tamara, and she told me all about your radio show, and you're a very successful radio show host as well as a best-selling author. You've now just come out with a brand new book, Wisdom to Success, and you have such a amazing story. I'd love if you'd share with our audience a little bit about your background, what brought you into a career in broadcasting and to writing your books.
Sure. I actually have had a career that's a cat of 9 tails. It really is. It's like there was no depth. There was just a whole new life rebirthed. It was unbeknownst to me. Much of it was not planned. A lot of it was following energy, without even at the time understanding what energy was, but just somehow having an inclination to feel what was right, or certainly when things were super wrong, like, oh, I just can't keep doing this anymore. There has to be something else. And sometimes it was about letting go and literally not having anything there, sometimes for as long as 3 years. And that was mighty weird and uncomfortable because I'm a deeply creative person. Clearly, since you've read my book, I'm a high achiever, and it's just a part of my personality. I love accomplishing things, not just for getting to the top of the mountain all the time, but it constantly informs me about who I am, and it brings the most joyous things into my life. So, it's really been an amazing ride. And the beginning of my life, honestly, as a young kid, all I loved was acting and singing. And that's pretty much all I did. Mom sent me to summer camp, summer stock. I was in plays all the time. Every opportunity I had, I would entertain, even when nobody asked me to. There were times if I had a bus full of people as a little kid, no kidding, I would get up in the aisle and you were held captive. And I was going to sing my jukebox full of music in my head. And I hope I was pretty adorable. And then I got older. I went to college. I went to USC for performing arts, and I came out of college, and that's, boom, I was right into a theater troupe and performing, and that's pretty much a lot of what my life composed of was auditioning, getting jobs, sometimes not getting jobs, and I did the amalgam, film, television, tiny bit of commercial, and a ton of theater because I was really hot on theater. And then I got to a certain point and something had been shifting inside, and I really didn't know what to do, but I was hearing something. At the time, I didn't understand that I had that ability. We really all have the ability to understand what's going on inside. Mine just happens to be called clairsentience. And I was getting information. I had no idea what to do with it because my whole identity was actress/singer. I'm a double threat. But something was changing, and it got to the point where I didn't want to fulfill some of the requirements once I got cast. And in a year when I had the biggest movie deal, the biggest theater deal, et cetera, I literally had to look at my life and career and say, something is amiss. I don't quite understand it. I don't even understand how this is possible because everybody knows me as this and so do I. But I have to let go because this is just feeling confusing. At the same time I got married, I went through 3 years of fertility treatments. Anyone who's been through that understands. Anyone who doesn't, good times, fun times. And when you're going through fertility treatments, basically, besides being pumped through ungodly amounts of hormones that do really interesting things to your psyche and body, at the same time, the doctors are telling you don't do anything. No stress, no physical activity, no this, no that, and get lots of sleep. And so I was relegated pretty much to cutting most everything out of my life. And for a creative like me, so the wound, if I may, was not being able for 3 years to do anything. That was very difficult. The gift that gave me, and I believe inherent in everything that happens to us, is a gift. The gift of that time is that I was so like a volcano about to explode creatively that when I came out, it was with the energy that nothing will ever stop me, and I am here to express myself. So 3 years, didn't get pregnant, had miscarriages, etc., and moved on with my life. And in moving on with my life, a couple of things occurred. They were not on top of each other. They happened quite naturally. And the first thing, why I had been, I guess I wanted to take a jewelry class. So I went into this one-day jewelry class, and I loved it, and I started going home and creating jewelry like crazy, started wearing it. People would say, wow, where'd you get that? And I'd say, I made it, and they'd say, can I buy one? Okay. That wasn't really why I was doing it, but literally it gave me an idea. And from that idea, within 3 months, I had amassed so much jewelry, and because I'm a little daft, I immediately went, like any smart person, directly to a high-end store in Beverly Hills and showed the buyer my stuff. And she didn't take it. Although she liked it, she gave me some suggestions. And I walked out, and the next week went to another place in Beverly Hills, and they took my stuff in 5 stores. And within a year, I was in 7 stores. And really, ignorance is bliss, because when you don't know any different, you'll do things like that. And I did that for a while. And then I was doing some workshops because I had done 3 years in Toastmasters. I enjoyed it. I didn't know if I'd want a career in public speaking. So I did it. I put together a workshop and started delivering them around Los Angeles. As I was doing that, and here's a key, I believe when we are in our joy, that in our joy, inner joy, yes, and in our joy, that magic happens. Unexpected gifts are given to us from the universe because we're emanating this joy, and so joy comes to us. And at that time, I got a phone call out of the blue from somebody who said, I have this high-end cartoon, and a celebrity just dropped out. She cannot voice the lead character. We're looking for people. Various producers are suggesting people. Somebody suggested you. Would you audition? I had never done a voiceover in my life, honey child. And I went, sure. And I did. And I got the part. And I got paid beautifully. And I loved it. And I went, I want to do this. So I'm off and running toward voiceovers, get some jobs. And I really want to be out there in a big way. And I see something for radio. And I think, oh, that's what I'll do. That'll get my voice out there. And that was 7.5 years ago. So I did that for a while. And I was looking for the fruition of my voiceover work, not realizing the whole time truly the universe had much more in store for me. And it became a voice for me. What started as a little music show became the expression of my life. And when they came to me and offered me my own show, I entitled it Dare to Dream. I knew I was going to talk about goals. I knew it was going to have a metaphysical bent. And I was amazed at what unraveled. And from there, it became speaking and keynotes and becoming known as a goal achievement expert and writing one book, which became a bestseller, Dare to Dream, and just got literally, last week just got a rave review in Writer's Digest. And then a couple of years later, I wrote this new book, Wisdom to Success, The Surefire Secrets to Accomplish All Your Dreams. That just got a rave review in USA Today, et cetera, et cetera. They've won awards, and I couldn't be more amazed than anybody else. But this is called following energy, because I would have never thought I was going to be a writer. I frankly didn't have a lot of interest in it. But things just keep presenting, and I follow them, and I am boy, this journey just keeps like a river, moving. And I'm going to be like that light thing buoyed right on top and letting it carry me, because the adventures that it's affording me, the experiences, are amazing. And so I'm not cooked yet, and there's lots more. And I definitely am someone, just to finish that question, I keep jumping. I keep jumping off the cliff, not knowing, trusting, unfurling my wings, and allowing myself to fly, even when sometimes it doesn't feel like I'll be able to.
Oh, girl, I'm loving this, because one thing I got, and I took the big leap about 2 years ago to start my business, was everyone and their mama thinking I'd lost my mind. And it's very conceivable that when you do a big leap like that in your life and do something that you've never done before that looks very uncharacteristic, starting a radio show for me, I have no experience in broadcasting, so it looks certifiably nuts for me to think I can do that. But what I love about your story, and you're continually growing and going with the energy, is that as you just go in faith and let go and surrender, which you mentioned quite a bit, you end up flying, and it looks like you're free falling for a bit, as if you're just falling, you're not going to be caught. But you do get caught if you have that trust and you surrender.
Indeed. It's really surrendering to the gift that's been given to you, and the gift that's been given to you and to everybody individually is that we all get the seed planted in us, which is that excitement of the dream or the goal. And it's up to us to execute it. We've already been given direction and marching orders, right? And something goes, travel here, do that, help this organization, meet that person, show up at this event, engage in this hobby, stop working here and go do what you're supposed to be doing. Whatever it is, it's implanted in us. That's the gift. What are we going to do with the gift? And that's where it's like there's two choices in life, and it's either comfort or it's courage. It's never both. So what you going to choose? And sometimes we get to be comfortable for a short period of time, but it will always creep up, because energy is change, so life is change. And when it comes, that seed, we got to suit up and show up.
And I like that you mentioning the comfort and uncomfortable, because I was saying to a guest not long ago that I've never been more uncomfortable in my life continually, on a continual basis, since I kind of left corporate. And there are times I'll think to myself, am I on the wrong track because I'm uncomfortable? And now more and more that I talk to successful people like yourself, I realize that no, this is natural. You're supposed to be uncomfortable. This is a whole new experience, and it's okay.
You know, the fears that we run from end up running us. So the fact that you're uncomfortable is a celebration. Because the most dangerous place for anybody is a safety zone. And the more we each go past our limits, the more our limits will expand.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I love what you just mentioned before, that you are a goal achievement expert. I love that. And explain to our audience a little bit about what that is and how you help people achieve their goals.
What that is I'm the go-to gal who can tell you how to achieve a goal, give you a recipe, It's in all my books. It's in all my products. I say it 100 different ways, and anything that could get in the way of you and that dream, I talk about. I know it because I've lived it. If there was any obstacle, I've lived it. And I know it because my stuff is taught all around the world. I know it because I have coaches who insist that before anybody works with them, they buy my books. They want to clear stuff out of the way, and then they're ready to work. And that's really as it should be. So I'm the serious gal who's like talks about stuff. You know, it's interesting. You can go anytime on the internet, or you can read articles, but I think we've all experienced that often what we see out there is the same stuff over and over, and it's not helping anyone get anywhere fast. So I'm the one who talks about the spiritual stuff, the pragmatic stuff, the magic of it, and that's really what I'm all about. I flesh this subject out every which way from Sunday, and I never run out of material. There's so much to talk about when it comes to dreams and goals. And at the same time, it's a strangely nebulous subject. You know, I'm not talking about, well, in marketing you got a 1, 2, 3, and that's what always works, and sign up for my course. It's actually a very etheric subject on some level. And at the same time, there are certain earthly things that must get done, and there are certain inside things that must happen. And then for everybody, because everyone's so different, and their dream is so different, there are different things will come up and different ways to handle all of those. So that's what I mean. So I'm expert or expert enough, as we all are, in this particular subject that I could help anyone, a mass of people, get through to the next side. If they're willing to do the work, by the way, that's key. If you're really willing to step in with both feet, I can take you from where you are to where you prefer to be.
I love a couple things you mentioned there that's very important, that not looking at just the pragmatic, which you've very much done. You've ran marathons, which could not be done without doing the pragmatic thing of training. You can think about it, you can visualize it, but you have to get out off your buns and actually train for it and run every day. And as well as actually going within, what is your mindset going to be? Because if your mindset from the start is, this is not going to work, I don't believe it, well, you're going to get what you think. If you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. So you cover both those parts as well as the effort, which I'm really liking, that anyone that comes to you for help, if they're not willing to put in their part of it or their effort, it's also not going to come together.
Yeah. That's really, if you want it, I can tell you the first step in achieving any dream, and that's it right there. It's a decision. You decide. It's a choice. Without that, never going to happen. I've done things that people said, that's impossible. Well, I don't believe in impossible. I believe in I'm possible. So if I decide, it's going to happen. You know, there's that amazing swimmer. I mean, she inspires me so much it makes me want to cry. Diana Nyad, who at 64 years old swam from Cuba to Florida. That story, whew.
Wow.
You know, she had the dream when she was 28. Out of nowhere, the seed was planted in her. Out of nowhere, she looked at a map and went, what would that be like? And she could never shake it. She even gave up swimming for 20 years. 4 times she attempted that swim. She had scientists say, that is physically, humanly impossible. She swam and got exhausted and had to be pulled out. She swam and almost made it, but got bit by life-threatening jellyfish. Oh, not pretty. And she had everything imaginable occur to her physically that would have deterred, who else would start that anyway, but would have deterred anybody. But what did Diana do? She couldn't shake this. Her mother died at the age of 82, and when her mom died, Diana said to herself, you know what, honey? We're not getting any younger. The dream's not going anywhere. It's still here. And now that Mom's gone, what would it mean for us to finally do this? And she never, despite every failure, never gave up, never lost that vision that, of course, I'm going to do this. And as we all know recently, she swam 100-something miles, 53 hours. She did what everybody said was impossible. when she came up on the shores, and if you saw pictures of her, you can't even imagine what she looked like, so swollen from the salt water, her face, her lips beaten up and so forth. And she said such beautiful things, as much as her lips would allow when she got to the finish. And then she had swimmers, marathon swimmers, contest because they said it was impossible. And she did phone conferences with them, as well as all the experts. Of course, she had experts with her, showing every piece of the journey. And once all that information was disseminated, they all sat back, these marathon swimmers, and said, wow, we understand how you did that there. We understand how that current took you there. Now we get it, and we congratulate you. And now it was a done deal. But you take something like that, and we all have those Diana Nyad moments where there's something we want to do that feels like, never, man, never. No one's done that before. No one in my family, or certainly I've never. That's impossible. But we can't shake that we have that deep desire, and we must. It's our soul's journey to make that happen. It's up to us.
Wow, I love that, Debbie. And this recalls to me one of my favorite guests that have come on my show, Michael Combs. He's very much like the Diana that you mentioned. He had a dream to fly around the 50 United States in a light sport aircraft, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a teeny aircraft that can't go too far, and to do it in a set amount of time. And here's the kicker. He didn't have a pilot license at the time when he had the dream, and he had a heart that was on its way off. You know, his kicker wasn't working. He died 2 times in 3 days, and the doctor said, look, you'll be lucky if you can walk again, let alone fly a plane. But he, at that moment, when he was gotten to the point where he couldn't walk, he said, this is it. This has to happen. I can't leave this planet without completing my dream. And so he went about making it happen, and I think it was 2 years later he completed his pilot license, and 2 months after that he started off the journey to complete his mission, which was completed 4 years later. But he completed it and did his last hop in Hawaii after 48,000 miles completed. He had completed his goal, and people said, oh, you're amazing, you're like, you know, superhuman, and no one could do what you did. And he just kept saying, I'm just like everyone else. The only thing that made me different is that I never gave up.
That's
that
right.
I made the choice, like you said, and I never gave up.
Absolutely. That is a gorgeous example. It's so true. You know, one of the obstacles, I just coined it recently, the 3 S's. In fact, this is the first place I'm ever saying it. But it's the 3 S's that rear our heads when we want to create a dream. And we start moving towards the dream, and then all of a sudden the S's call to us, and we abandon the ship. And those S's are security, surety, and safety. We so deeply desire to feel secure, to be sure in our decision, to have a guarantee of the outcome, and then to feel safe that whatever happens, we're going to be okay. But as we all know, we don't get those. We don't get any of those 3. So a dream comes up, and there is no security. There is no safety. There is no sense of being sure. It's hysterical. What a paradox in life that things should be like that. But how fun would life be if you said, I'm leaving this job, or I'm going around the world and touching every state and country, or whatever it is? If you went, yes, you'll be fine, but you'll have problems in Portland, and this will happen, and that will happen. If you knew everything, I mean, ho-hum, light a cigar. How exciting would that be?
Yeah.
But really, the thing to get is that because those very elements are taken from us all as humans, that is part of the exhilaration of the journey. It's the not knowing that makes it so incredible, and it's the experiencing and discovering at every moment within the journey toward the dream.
Very well said. Amazing. Wow, that is so true. And now every time I think, do I want to go forward? Am I making the right choice? I just remember Michael and say, I'm just going to keep plugging away for my dream, and it will work out. Yeah, I would love that because you've been a author and coach and an expert, goal achievement expert. In all your years of working as a coach and author and a goal achievement expert, from your experience, what have you seen as some of the biggest lessons learned along your journey?
I have seen and experienced that visionaries see the impossible as the inevitable. I have seen that the secret to genius is not genetics. It's not where you come from, but it's daily practice married with relentless perseverance. I've seen that it generally takes about 10 years to become an overnight sensation. That saying, I'll try, really means I'm not really committed. That change is the very hardest at the beginning. It's the messiest in the middle, and it's really best at the end. I've seen that it's really important, something that's helped me so much and really put me where I am. I believe I have a big heart, and I love people, mostly. Mostly I really love people, and I have forged incredible connections and relationships with people, some of them highly influential. And I think that ability, that willingness, frankly, has opened doors and possibilities for me and got people very excited in what I'm doing. So never underestimate relationships. They are so important. And it's true. You never know. Someone who's going to be here one day may be in a position to give you exactly what you desire. So also always say thank you when you're grateful. Always say thankful. And say I'm sorry when you're wrong.
Wow, you've just hit on like a billion lessons. That is awesome. What I'm loving there is the trying thing, because I know for years I kept saying, I'm going to try that business thing someday. You know, I'm going to branch out and try starting my own business. And that worked out for about 5 years, going nowhere fast until I had a severe health issue that put me in the hospital. And I said, okay, now it's it. We either make as you said before, the decision to go forward, no ifs, ands, or buts, or we don't. And that's really what it takes. And I love that mention of really connecting with people and meeting people and stepping out to meet someone new and maybe someone outside of your comfort zone, someone who might be a little bit, you feel, beyond your influence. Because Michael Combs, that guy I very much admire and a great inspiration to me. I met him last year at an aviation party. It was a celebrity party. And I had just started my radio show, and I wasn't asking, big-time celebrities or anyone top in their industry on my show because I felt like I'm a newbie. Who's going to want to be on my show? Who's that big? But I took a chance and went up to him and spoke to him and told him how much he inspired me. And I said, I know I'm really new and I don't have that many listeners yet. Would you honor me by coming on my show? And he said, I'd be absolutely honored, yes. And from that point on, little by little, I got the courage to step up to people who I felt were, beyond me. And really, at the end of the day, when I talk to them, they're just human beings. Yes, they've accomplished things in their life, but at the end of the day, they're just like me. And if they're able and if you're courteous and respectful, in most cases, they will engage with you and talk with you, and in some cases, come on your radio show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what you were doing basically is taking a step. In fact, just showing up at that event and maybe not even knowing he'd be there. It's about those small, daily, seemingly insignificant steps, improvements, innovations that we just say, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll put on my clothes today and walk out and do that. And those little small steps can lead to staggering achievements over time. You just have to be willing to say yes. Opportunities can creep up in places that are tremendously unexpected. And something else that's really important is our daily schedule reflects our deepest values. So if we're saying, I value my family more than anything, but we're a workaholic, we are not expressing or reflecting really what our values are. We're expressing something aberrant. If we say that what we value is creating this dream come true, but we're spending 10 hours on social media, wasting our life, social not working instead of social networking, or, God, I heard a statistic that curled my hair. I literally heard this statistic that said that most Americans watch so much television in a week that it is equal to an entire day of their life. Every week, an American loses an entire day of their life to television. Now, unless you're watching Breaking Bad or Homeland or some other amazing show, because I can't touch that. That's mind-blowing, amazing television. But unless you're watching something that incredible, you're not going to remember in a year. If I were to say to you, so basically you lost one day every week for 52 weeks. What was it you watched? How did it change your life? What did it do for you? You would look at me like, I would look at you. Oh, my God. Huh? I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what I watched. It was some kind of mindless TV. But if you took that time, even half that time, and put it towards taking action steps towards your dream and your goal, what could you accomplish? So your daily schedule reflects your deepest values. Look at your schedule. If you see that you have stuff planned and it's with people you don't love, who aren't winners, who don't support you, it's with events that are not getting you further ahead, you just feel obligated to show up to, if you're working at a job that's sucking you dry, unless it's now, one caveat is, if it's paying your bills, if it's a BJ, you want a good BJ in your life, honey. A BJ is not what you think it is. Don't put your mind there. A BJ is a bridge job, okay? So if you are having a bridge job because on the outside you're working hard to create the dream of your life, okay, that's acceptable. But otherwise, if something's sucking you dry, look where you're spending, because it's like money. Are you debting yourself? Are you anorexic? What's going on? Binging and purging? Or are you really living the life of your dreams, luxury, rich, rich life? Look at your schedule, tell you tons.
Wow. I had heard, I don't know if you know him, David Nagel. He's a mentor life coach. He had mentioned to people, look at your bank statement to get an idea where you're headed in your life and in your business. And it's basically the same thing. Look at your schedule and look at your bank statement. If you're spending most of your money on entertainment and not things to really propel you forward, same thing. If you're spending all of your time on talking on the phone or watching TV and eating potato chips, you're gonna get those results. So yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
And you can spend that same money and that same time on education, self-education, because that's really the beginning of transformation. Everyone can dedicate themselves to daily learning through books, through audios, through radio shows, seminars, coaching, workshops. There is so much available to us. And what's gorgeous is today with technology, you don't even have to hop. I'm old-fashioned. I love to hop on the plane. I'm an in-person kind of gal, so I will always love that most. But still, you can get on your computer, your telephone, your iPad, your whatever, and be in the midst of an amazing workshop in a second. So there are no excuses, but you can transform your life by aligning with educational things like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I myself love the person-to-person connection that you just don't get from social media or the internet or even emails. I can get a little bit closer if I do a Skype call with someone, but it's just not the same as being able to feel someone, shake their hand, talk to them, look them in the eye. You just can't replace that, one-on-one or group setting.
I have actually a new sort of goal, I suppose I could call it. It's a mini goal because I go for much bigger things, but this will be actually internally very shifting for me. I am making an announcement very soon that I am leaving the station I've been at I've been doing radio in a particular vicinity for a long time. And I felt, as I said, that seed was planted. I felt a calling. All the stuff I've just discussed, it happened to me. It happens to me all the time. And I know not to ignore it, because when you ignore it, that's when things really start going wrong in your life. And I'm not about that. I'm always willing to take chances and trust that the nature of that voice or calling. So I got the direction to leave and start something new. Basically, go bold, go big, go bold, or go back. I put the notice out on a Monday to some influential people I know looking, and by Sunday I was in a meeting with somebody who made me an offer. So I'm going into a new paradigm. I'm going to a new station that has some very impressive names attached to it in the transformational world, and I am blessed, very excited. Will be syndicated in 58 stations. It's incredibly established long before me. And here comes the education for me. Where I'm leaving was in a gorgeous building, very influential, and people could come to the radio station. Where I'm going to is where everybody else is. And although I have that at my disposal to meet with people, it's far enough away that most of us won't want to do it. We'll just do the telephone thing. And because the telephone thing's a little difficult for me, and because I will deeply miss the rich connection and synergy of being in person, I'm going to have to ask Spirit, basically, to give me a new gift, which is that without sight and without a in-person heart connection, to allow me to go there anyway, to allow me to have a synergy and a magic with people over the phone. Like, what else is possible? Take me there. Guides, angels, all that is, because I'm obviously ready for that experience. And maybe, and this is something I've also had before, I'm actually realizing this as I share this with you, Christina, maybe this needs to happen for me because there's a next piece that's coming into my life. And when I go into that next career, I am going to need that ability to connect with people on that level, through energy, through airwaves, through television, without seeing them. I never got that before. So this is a very important departure for me, and without a lot of sadness or fanfare, to trust I was given the calling. Within 7 days, I had a job offer, and off I go.
Well, congratulations, Debbie. I am so excited for you, because it is true. As you take the leap and let God lead you forward, the rest will come into bear. For me, I was very uncomfortable with connecting with people, period. I worked in finance for 20 years. That is not exactly very connecting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very, very different from what I'm doing now. But now I connect on a daily basis with people, and I've built so many relationships that for years, sitting in a cubicle where my only relationships were the couple girlfriends around me, it's enlarged and enriched my life so much, and it's just awesome. And I would have not thought I had the gifts inside of me to make it happen. As I found my gifts, I know you will find your gifts, and you very, very much are connecting, I know, to my audience right now through the phone. I can feel your energy that's incredibly positive and enriching. So I know you've already got the gift, and it will just continue to grow.
That's kind. Thank you so much. Really, I received that. And Christina, the bottom line for all of us is we can't call in sick to our life. We don't get that option. It's like forget about hanging up the phone, hang up the story. Hang up the story and show up.
That's right.
Just show up. You don't have to be the greatest. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to nothing like that. You could just be your magnificent old self and show up. And,
That's right.
Anyone who's got an animal knows what that's like. The animal walks in the room, you're like, I love you so much. You're just this free, amazing creature. They don't have to be anything. They don't have to catch ball or eat in a particular way, or, they just be. And you're like, ah. And really, we could all step into the same within ourselves. Hang up the story. You can't call in sick to your life. Just show up.
That's right. And if you don't, write a new story, for heaven's sake. If you don't, the story you've been living, throw it out and write a new one.
Indeed. I always think it'd be so magnificent, to take, you don't even have to change the story. You could actually say, This is exactly what happened. And you know why it's so amazing that it happened? Because if that hadn't happened, look at all these gifts that I've gotten and getting. And, you can actually take your story and just put a twist on it that you never did before. And it's like switching glasses. Go out and experience that instead.
I completely agree, because I used to think before I got started with my own business, what did I possibly get from my 20 years in finance and all that work? And I found that work has very much been useful in the work I'm now doing. I had to help people get better with their finances, help businesses get restructured and organized. And I still use those very same gifts that I got those 20 years in finance in my now life. So nothing is not applicable to future journeys and roads you take. So, nothing ends up in the garbage. I had also studied opera in my 20s, and my mom said to me, well, what is that for? I mean, that didn't help you. You didn't become a world-class opera singer. But it has helped me get my message across now, and also be able to speak from my diaphragm when necessary.
Wow. That's tremendous. Yes. Everything we get is just yet another piece. And, never underestimate a BJ, because those BJs, those bridge jobs, let me tell you, I learned how to put together a business letter. I learned how to operate. When I say operate a computer, I mean super high end, like really know about computers. I learned so much massive technology and things I never would have learned if I started out instantly self-employed. But from the ground up, I got an amazing education. So you're right. They deliver more to us than we realize.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember us talking about you having a new teleseminar coming up, Creating Dreams into Reality. I'd love if you would share a little bit about that upcoming teleseminar with our audience.
I would be overjoyed. Yes, indeed. I have two different ways that I'm coaching right now. And the one way is this class that's going to take place. It's going to be a teleseminar, and it is for people who are excited about creating a dream, or listen, you could have a many. You bring an arsenal, I'm happy either way. But join us, and this is going to literally be a mastermind support group, and you're going to have me, the expert, at the helm, and you're going to get the exact how to create a dream. And what's luscious about it is you don't just get this and go out and try to figure it out. You get to come back to every call and receive direction, as well as the amazing experience from other people. When you listen to other people out there doing it and following, and boy, we learn so much from each other. And I also have someone who will be stepping in who's a master theta healer. And theta healing, it's a sort of meditative state that this gal uses. Her name is Karen Abrams, and she is a master. And when she works, I could just tell you, for me, I go to this amazing place, because literally it's like energetically stuff's being taken out and the good stuff being put in. So between the two of us, you're going to literally have an inner-outer healing, and we're so psyched to powerfully present this and shift people's lives. And the second thing I do is radio coaching. So I coach people. There's a lot of people out there who want to be on radio or already are on radio. And either they're kind of stale, or they're not getting the results they want, or frankly, they're beginners and they don't even know how to start. But I teach all of that. Again, for me, simple, easy peasy. And once I teach it, I've had clients, boy, oh boy, very exciting to see them go from struggling on the radio to being brilliant interview guests. So what else is possible?
I love it. I love it. And Karen Abrams, I'm going to check that out. I knew nothing about that type of meditation.
Well, if you like, go to my website. Go to DeborahDachinger.com. It's DeborahD as in David, ACHINGER.com. And if you'll go under interviews, just search for Karen Abrams. And I've done 6, 7, 8, somewhere between 7 or 8 interviews with her. And some of them are specifically where we took callers, and she was doing the theta healing over the phone, yeah, she's all that. She's pretty cool, and she's a good friend, too.
Wow, I love it. Well, I'm really, really excited. And anyone who wants to sign up for this teleseminar, I'm assuming they can go straight to your website and sign up there, or?
Yes, definitely. Everything, my entire life is on my website. It's a one-stop shop. So please go there. It's got videos for free. It's got interviews for free. It's got amazing products that cause leaps and bounds for people, including a brand new meditation for dreams and goals. And there is a contact page, and there's also the radio coaching. So, yes, feel free. You can drop me a line and have fun exploring.
Awesome. Give everyone the address just again, just in case they missed it the last time you gave it a few moments ago.
DeborahDachinger.com. DeborahDachinger.com. DeborahDachinger.com is spelled DeborahDachinger. D as in David, ACHINGER.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. And before we end out here, do you have any last words you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I really want to impart that we live in an interesting day and age where we see these celebrities and athletes and amazing people, beautiful people on magazines and television. And many people have the feeling that these people woke up one day and were instant celebrities, and we desire that too. And I think it's very, very important to recognize that to everybody you see, they have a backstory. And it's important to be interested and fascinated in that backstory, because they didn't wake up and suddenly be an instant celebrity. What we haven't seen is the years of hard work and the disappointments and the failures and everything that went into creating who they are now and their dream come true. So it really was an internal village to make what we are witnessing in a celebrity or an athlete or a supermodel. And we can take the same to our own dream and goal. It's not a fantasy, and it shouldn't be overwhelming, but it does take work. It really does take stepping in with both feet. And if you will do that, if you will do the work, you can absolutely create your dream come true. And you'll also be creating your backstory that someday, like this Michael she's been mentioning, like the Diana Nyad I mentioned, like things I've achieved in my life, and many other people you know, and Christina, that we'll all have a story to share. We didn't just wake up and get there. We made a decision. We did what it took. We found a way no matter what. And one day we were there.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Debbie, for coming on Savvy Central Radio and sharing your wisdom and gifts. Thank you.
My honor. Thank you.
Join us this Monday, October 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern, where our last guest of this month will be David Cagle, a licensed architect for over 25 years. David will talk about how to have a sustainable green design and construction in your business and in your home.
Hi, it's Teresa DeGrobo here. I am so excited to be coming to New York with Christina Nichman and Mastering the Influence Game series hosted by Savvy Central Radio. I am going to be speaking on how to become a master at the influence game. We're going to really dive into how do you get that stampede of customers that are really anxious to buy your products and your services, and what are the really critical steps you have to take to be really successful in connecting with the high-level influencers. How do you get past the gatekeepers and have them take you seriously and really want to play with you? We're also going to talk about the power of a best-selling book, why it's your top marketing tool, and I'm going to tell you the insider secret formula for how you can get there quickly. Looking forward to seeing you.
To find out more, go to masteringtheinfluencegame.eventbrite.com.